All right, welcome back, Wank Nation. We're here today with Mac, FPL Mac, and myself, FPL Vibes. Missing Bluff, missing Luke, due to alleged work things. I think he's just dodging wearing his banana hat once again. But
Agreed.
Mac, how we feeling?
Feeling good. I feel like I cooled off a little bit as the weekend went on. Got as high as like 125K at one point, but it was unrealistic that I kept it. And now I'm disappointed by a mere 40K rank gain. So I'm feeling pretty good when I put it into that kind of context. I'm pretty happy. How are you?
No, I think very similar vibes, honestly. And if I think about the percentage points, like I went up 11K ranks, which I think is very similar around that 20-25 mark percent wise. But when we were together watching games this weekend, I was sitting at 31K for a lot of it. And then kind of those Monday games just kicked me in the teeth. So that was
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate. But like you said, you can't be mad about a green arrow.
Yeah, they kicked me in the teeth in the worst way too, because I felt like I had the right coverage of players, and it was just like Joao Pedro gets a last minute, just like
Literally.
that was 10K ranks right like alone, and then Anderson gets subbed on for a one pointer, which was a bummer. Like they were 3-0 up and he gets subbed on at halftime. And I'm like, just let him chill, man. He doesn't need it.
No, I know. It was like those last kicks of the ball. I mean, look at City. City should have
Mm-hmm.
been down on points, and then they recovered one with the literal last kick of the ball in that game
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
And of course, it had to be Holland, which neither of us captained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were safe up until like the literal last minute across two games, both Monday. So that was like a little bit of a pump the brakes moment. But other than that, it was actually a pretty phenomenal weekend.
No, absolutely. I think the stories we've been following a little bit, along with the rest of Premier League fans, is depending on what side you're on, fortunate or unfortunate, that now Arsenal looks like they have it in hand for the title, as long as they just take care of business.
Dude, that sucks as a Spurs fan, but this is going to be one of those I was right moments because nobody remembers the moments when they were wrong. I said last week, I was like, are we concerned that they didn't beat Burnley by more? Like it just didn't feel like they had a sting to them. And then Everton were a moderately tougher opponent, um, but not so tough to where if you want to win a title, you should have drawn them. So,
100%. I think Everton can pose some tough matchups for people because they
mm-hmm.
have decent players across areas of the pitch, and I don't think Moyes is a bad coach by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the capability of doing this. I think Tark back there and just the size that they have can cause some problems. But I hear you. Yeah, if you're really competing for that, that's not mid-table team should not be someone that's tripping you up.
Yeah, so that was hugely disappointing as a completely non-neutral. Um, but I also, as a complete neutral, though, I had a great time watching. This is going to hurt you, and it's not meant to be that way. But the Liverpool Man United game was a great
Yeah.
game. A lot of fun to watch. 5 goal thriller.
I mean, I think the second half was a lot more fun than the first half from probably a biased perspective and a
Yeah,
neutral, I hope.
no, I
But
don't
yeah,
disagree.
no, we had great vibes for that game too. I think we went to a local pub here and watching it with some other unfortunate United fans and one other lone Liverpool fan, including a kid that's going to be on Twitter in a couple of years. That's going to
That
just
kid
wreck all
has
of
to
us.
has to have a Twitter account already. Oh my god, he knows the lingo. He's like 10 and like the biggest rage baiter I've ever seen.
It was insane. But I think what I saw in that game was a lot of, I think, better play out of United. A Sobo, just great moment for
Oh
Liverpool to put that
yeah,
first goal in.
I saw a tweet that said like he looked left, looked right, said, "I'm doing this alone."
Literally, and he should. That
He's
was
like,
correct.
I don't trust either of you guys.
It's tough scenes out there. I At the end of the day, a lot of the rest of the table set up to where all we need is essentially a point in these next three games to mathematically guarantee ourselves Champions League. So I can't be mad about it. But there's still a lot to figure out as a Liverpool fan going into next season and what this offseason holds because obviously Salah's gone. Van Dijk is looking old, but our entire defense is a joke and people not in the positions they want to be in. Allison's getting old.
Allison's pretty old and consistently injured these days.
hundred
Like, how,
percent.
how many times has he been out this season for a stretch?
I mean, talk this season and last season as well. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
been that way. So I think you got to look at that. But our attack as well. We don't. I mean, we don't have people with Ekatike injured. You got Gakpo, Rio, Salah's going to be gone. So you're throwing Verts into a winger type position, and Isak, if he stays healthy, like that's not very deep either. So I just made myself sad. Is basically what happens.
Yeah, I just got a little more empathetic to your plight. I've been making fun of you all season, but when I do think through like how it's been, I mean, you have Isak, who's been your world beater signing theoretically and injured the entire season. Ekatike's been on and off, and he was good when he was on. Salah just hasn't been the man. So your entire, and then Verts just hasn't been the man either. So your entire front line's been non-functional. And then Connor Bradley got injured. Robertson's old. Allison's old. Van Dijk's old. Salah's old. Like, you guys got a real changing of the guard moment happening. Like, I know that you're very anti-slot, but I got to give him a little bit of credit for keeping you guys in fourth with all of those headwinds.
Yeah, you just wonder how many of those headwinds were caused by the signings that he wanted to make this offseason and the way that he's trying to play the game versus how a lot of those players have played. I think we talked about it in depth, but I think you're in between systems right now with the players that you have. And I think the way that he wants to play is a lot less exciting than the way we've played historically. So unfortunate. I'm not excited about it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's an impasse, that's for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with the point on the way he wants to play is less exciting. Like, I feel like the joy of the Liverpool City matchups of recent years has been the Klopp ball versus the Pep ball, which are just two, like, one's like completely Vibes style run at him, and the other one's very controlled and, you know, almost more like playing chess. And I feel like Slot's more of a disciple of Pep, and so you guys are moving more in that direction this season.
100%, and you can guess with my name which side I like more. I'm all vibes. Let's go. Yeah. Let's hustle. Let's outwork them. Let's have fun. But speaking of vibes, I mean, I can bemoan my state, but I mean, you should be riding high after this weekend.
Oh my God, so high! Spurs have won a game, and not just that, we have won a game against Aston Villa's B team, and it feels so good. It feels so good. I don't even care. You'd also argue that it's our entire B team too. So it was a fair fight. I don't know why people are mad about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really, like, truthfully, really, really worried. I was like, if you look at the rest of the games that we have, it was Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, Everton. Now, all of those teams are kind of, I think, so in the greater context of the Prem right now. However, when you're fighting a relegation battle, so teams are not who we want. I'd love to have a lineup of like Wolves, Burnley. I'd say Forest, but we lost to them, and West Ham. So we did have that, to be fair. But yeah, so I'm like, I think that was a huge win to get. It puts us above West Ham in the table, you know, as everybody knows. But in terms of fixtures, they have Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds next. So we play the same opponent. They play the potential league winners, and then they play Newcastle, who right now, it's a toss-up on who's disappointing their fans more between Newcastle and Chelsea currently. But
oh my goodness. I mean, you talk about, before we get on that, I'm excited for you. I do have to bring up, though, that I believe West Ham have essentially diminished, gotten rid of, ruined the chance for Arsenal to win the title in the last 3 years. So right now it's set up where West Ham could do it again and possibly beat them. I hate to be the guy to say that. I hate to bring that juge into the worlds.
I don't think that matters, though. Like, if they beat, we're above them in the table with the same games played. So we just went out, they went out. Arsenal loses the title.
Hey, that's fine. Fair enough. I didn't know you guys were planning on winning out. That's my bad. That's where I miscalculated.
Brother, we've won a game. Never looking back.
So fair.
It was amazing how good I felt, though, genuinely. Like, I was like, I'm not going to be accused of being a fair weather fan. I'm not just going to tune out because we're getting relegated potentially, right? You know, you got to ride with the highs and ride with the lows. But it's been real low. And it was just such a release after we beat Aston Villa because I was so stressed about that game. Feels good, man. Feels really good. Also, now I'm like, should we be looking at Spurs assets?
I love that thought process. I love that excitement. You've been happier than I've seen you in a while when it comes to soccer.
But the answer is no.
But the answer is no.
I don't know, man. Let's go to your favorite form table.
Yeah, I would say, you may want to consider, I suppose, someone if you want, given if you have transfers to spare. But I don't think a lot of people are in that situation right now. I think a lot of people have made their wild cards and made their aggressive transfers to set up for bench boosts and other things. So they're not my priority by any means.
Yeah. All right. I think that's a good segue into some of the things we're going to start talking about. We've covered probably most of the highlights of the games.
I think so as well. Yep.
Quickly to flash the points, I suppose we could have done this earlier, but I'm on 68. The big tragedies was Joao Pedro just from a non-ownership perspective. I didn't have him in my team, and then Anderson getting subbed on for a one-pointer because put my bench order perfectly and would have had Welbeck. I actually was completely caught off guard that they rotated as heavily as they did. I guess they're safer than I thought they were from a relegation standpoint, so it kind of makes sense. And they've been playing good form, and it's a European clash, but I didn't expect Anderson to be benched.
Yeah, no, that's so fair. I don't think I was really considering that either. I mean, I don't have him, but the fact that they were able to go out there and whoop Chelsea like they did, I mean, I guess I would rotate too.
They whooped us, but like that was their first team, dude. And
Yeah.
they were 3-0 down like what, 20 minutes. We were watching that game and we were like, what the hell is happening, man?
That was crazy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go on to Luke real quickly. He's banana boy this week, in spirit at least. I feel a little bad. I was like telling him to just get rid of all of his Bournemouth assets, and I don't know if that influenced him to benching them. But yeah, tough week for our man there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad because he had all three of them benched before we went through his team.
That's true.
But yeah, no, he couldn't have put them in worse order either, just to add insult to injury.
Mm-hmm. I mean, did we really expect Bournemouth to keep not only a clean sheet, but also just whoop Crystal Palace like that? Like I thought that Bournemouth would have won based on recent form, but I was thinking it'd be like a 1-2 type of game.
Agreed. I think we as a collective did not do a very good job of considering Europa and what Conference League and whatever games
we got caught up by the rotation last week in a big way.
100%. You want to flip over to mine then, just to cover the middle ground here?
Yeah. So did you?
Yeah,
actually, did I win the game week? No way.
You did, yes.
I thought you got it.
No, you were ahead of me most of the time. Once 1 p.m. hit on Sunday, due to the Tottenham Villa game. And you can see my team was looking pretty hot. I was feeling pretty good going into Sunday afternoon because I still had 5 players to play in my 3 City and 2 Villa guys. Everyone else had returned or gotten a clean sheet, DEFCONs, etc. And instead, I was pretty heavily let down. Like the one guy that I didn't want to do as well was Holland. We've covered that he did. Turkey, happy with. I'm happy I have him in over Semenyo, and I would heavily encourage anyone listening to go Turkey over Semenyo for the remaining games as well, based on form. But O'Reilly getting outperformed and just not, I mean, them giving up 3 goals in general was brutal. Watkins getting subbed on sucked. Rogers getting a yellow and just being overall ass like the rest of his team was brutal. So that's really all I had to say about it. I was upset about it, but shout out to my Leeds guys. Shout out to Mukiele for putting one in. That was cool.
Yeah, I said, I think I texted you guys that the season was over the second that the Leeds guys went off because I didn't have any of them. And somehow I managed to recover to a good game week. But the moaning aside, I was really surprised by how bad Villa was when we brought up the Spurs Villa game. I guess I only really talked about it from a Spurs perspective, but Villa were just terrible. And I know they rotated. I don't know what happened to John McGinn. He was back out. I've been saying for a while that he's pretty important to their midfield and just like the way they function. But then Watkins being benched, rotation presumably, right? Like
you would think, yeah.
I don't know if they just underestimated us and thus didn't prepare accordingly. I don't know if they just rotated. Like they were horrible. They didn't generate chances. We were in their half the entire time. If you took that game in isolation, you would think that like Spurs was like a top tier side, but I think it was more of just like a Villa was so bad we looked good.
100% agree. I mean, obviously the rotation played into it, but you still had Tielemans out there, you still had Rogers out there, like you still had some key guys out there that should have made that team look better than they did. I think Tottenham's been building form, so sure, add that into it as well. But I also think they're in a position where they don't really care about any Premier League games left. And I wish I would have thought about that beforehand because they're tied with Liverpool at 58. So 4 and 5 have a good spread on the next guys. And they obviously have Europa to worry about right now and are going to put their efforts into that. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I think this is a good segue into this graphic you brought up. Of course, we're just grabbing Rob T's content. We should probably make some graphics next year.
That's fair. Hey, but we always give him credit because he does put the effort in and we do appreciate what he does.
And the fact that he shares it for us.
Yes.
It's just that they're amazing graphics. But yeah, to lend to your point, we definitely got caught off guard by rotation. I typically think of the big rotational periods as like December when there's the huge fixture congestion, and then maybe when people go to the beach, as this graphic is talking about, like who has nothing to play for, like Burnley and Wolves who are already relegated.
Yeah.
I feel like it's slightly unusual this year that there's so many teams not only competing for European like places, like potentially 5 teams or 6 Prem teams could be in the Champions League, depending on how some of these competitions shake out. Then you also have 2 Prem teams in competing in the Europa League, and then you have Crystal Palace is still in Europe too. So you have like quite a bit of the table depth going very deep into Europe this season.
100%. Yeah, I think you have a lot of mix in there. I think I was caught off guard by it because I think we've been talking about how tight the title race is, then how tight everyone in the middle is, and then obviously aside from Burnley and Wolves, the relegation battles that are going on. But when you really do take the step back and look at this, like Rob, he shows it that okay, Liverpool and Villa, I mean, they're pretty much going to be locked up by game week 38. I would say even before then, I would feel really confident about it. So take those guys out of the true competition aspect of it, then you do have to take into consideration the conference league and stuff like that, where Palace is putting players out there instead. And then you look at some of these other guys at the bottom that are going to be a little more locked in the next few weeks, and it's who are they going to put out there? Are they just going to put young guys out there to give them a shot, go have fun type situation? So
yeah, and like
interesting.
I probably should know this, but I don't know when the finals are relative to the end of the seasons. But when we won the Europa League, I'm fairly certain we had to play Brighton after that. I think the players were freely admitting to be hungover, and they pumped us. So there's almost potential these guys are going to be so far on the beach that it's going to be bad in a couple of weeks, depending on how some of these finals shake out. So, but yeah, a lot of teams to play for. Like very few teams right now that are truly safe and truly with nothing to play for. Like the fact that we're going over halfway down the table to Fulham, and then you got the relegation battle eating up from the bottom. We really got 5 teams that are chilling. And unfortunately, I had Anderson, the Crystal Palace rotation.
Yeah,
2 of those teams we felt susceptible to.
Yeah, for sure. Does this change as we're looking at this? We haven't talked about transfer plans or anything necessarily, but how are you looking at? I'm going to pull United out, but you can encourage that or include that down to Villa. I would say there. Does looking at this change how you're viewing any of those assets?
Not United, solely because Bruno Fernandes is chasing the assist record, and I think that they're rallying behind that. So
Fair.
they're still in it. It does change my transfer plans actually. So spoiler alert, I'm probably going to bench boost this week. I have that remaining. Something I kicked around is because I've cooled off on Crystal Palace assets pretty significantly, as I think I'll also get into a little bit later. My bench boost isn't as strong as I was planning it to be this week. So something I considered was, should I kick it down the line and just go when it's better for my team overall? But this does change my transfer plans, because when I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, game week 37, 38, half my starters could not play, right? So maybe it's better to just do it now while these teams have reasons to be invested, right?
Totally fair. Yeah, 100%. I think I'm viewing game week 38 as a crapshoot in total in itself. So I think it is better to get that out of the way early because, yeah, who knows what's going to happen when 90% of stuff is pretty locked up, or at least your finishing position should be pretty locked up.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is I'm also potentially going to use it to target teams. If there's a 1-week punt I can make when my transfers literally don't matter, 38, it's use it or lose it. And there are no consequences. You're not carrying that team forward. Maybe I can pick up somebody versus Burnley or somebody versus Wolves and just see what happens,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that segues nicely into looking at the next couple weeks here and who are the teams to target, who are the teams that, yeah, perfect projections as we look forward here. Obviously, City's still going to be high on there with the double game week this week and chasing that title. Arsenal has been playing well, I guess. I'm still surprised their projected goals are that high, even if they're playing Burnley, because they feel like a two-cap team. But
Well,
that's just me.
Saka's got like 3 goals this season, so he's on pace for a Ballon d'Or at this point.
Yes, that's right. Yes, true.
So how could they not be that high?
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, what from here sticks out to you? Obviously, I think we have 6 players from those top 2 teams, and everyone probably will have that. Who else are you looking at from a projected goals or clean sheet perspective?
Well, I after seeing last week, I'm a little surprised by where maybe some of these teams are, and I know that's relative to the matchup, but like Spurs being up there for 2 goals seems interesting to me. Like we're playing
Yeah.
Leeds, which is fair. They're not exactly the strongest defense, but so they stick out. We're also playing Leeds are also worse away, and they're actually away this time.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I also feel like based on the fact that Everton just shipped 3 goals, maybe a 64% chance of a clean sheet is wild, but I don't know how that works because it's a double. Like if it's just 2 33s, you know?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to take in. What about you?
Yeah, no, there's a lot to take in. I think what's sticking out to me is basically Brighton sticks out to me as a team that I don't really have a lot of investment in and may not have considered super well. Do you want them for Leeds and United? If you don't have them for Wolves, unsure. Go back to, is United playing for anything by that point? Maybe not. Maybe they still will be nice to have. I am shocked at Chelsea's clean sheet odds. I don't really care who they're playing. Tottenham and Sunderland are both going to put goals in, so stay
That's
off their
why.
defense. Like,
So genuinely, one thing that confuses me about this graphic every time I see it is what is market odds? What is the definition of market odds?
fair. I would say if it's sharp markets, you're looking at your betting, your books.
Mm-hmm. Because
But
like
yeah,
I don't know, I'm like really Chelsea has that high of a chance of a clean sheet every single week.
I know.
Like,
Yeah, especially the way they've played. Tottenham has, I think, more points since February than they do, so that's fun.
yeah.
What sticks out to me is we've touched on Palace. Palace being the other double this week with City and how low they are even in this week. Those matchups just aren't great for them, and nor have their players been great. And they showed us that they're prioritizing non-prem games right now, so that certainly impacts how I'm looking at things. And honestly, I'm scared of Aston Villa and how much I have of them, despite them playing Burnley and then playing a team that will always give up at least a goal. So, not sure how I feel with those 2 players either.
Yeah, I mean, probably not worth doing anything about, right? Like it is a Burnley game. I understand you being frustrated. You were probably looking for empathy, not solutions. But yeah, I mean they looked bad, but I have to imagine that was a one-off or a serious wake-up call, because if it's not, they're going to get pumped. Forest have been on fire. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. This has always been a criticism of Emery, though. It's like he can't manage a European and a Prem campaign, and some people say that keeps him out of like the upper echelon of coaches. And we've seen it manifest in real time. But dude's Europa League god, so
So fair enough. Hey, I mean, I don't know if it matters who's managing them right now in the Prem. I don't think they were going to touch either of those 2 teams for the long haul. But I hear you. Not much else that I can say. I'm going to glean off of this.
I mean, it's like it's game week 36. It's target the good teams, get the doubles, right?
Yeah, so fair. We know who's good. We know who's not good.
Mm-hmm. And they've proven it to us time and time again.
It doesn't mean we listen every time. Sometimes we like to.
No. It always annoys me so much when someone has a set and forget team that's ranked like 5K. and you're like, oh, good. So me messing around with my team has meant I made it worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, that's fair. Do you want to? Is there anything else you want to talk about before kind of hopping into your transfer plans and how you're playing out the rest of these game weeks?
No, I mean, let's get into it. Like,
All
we can
right.
jump back to this to reference specific fixtures if we need to, but in isolation, this graph is just hard to look at.
Yep.
Real quickly, I will just flash the projected odds for
Uh,
this game week. You know, it's just that last graph in smaller form. Notable fixtures to me is Manchester United versus Sunderland, and their defense. Sunderland defense has just not been good, and it's not like Manchester United are in a European competition, right? So I really feel like there's a very low threat of rotation, and they're just going to try to finish strong. Like doesn't feel like they have anything to gain by taking their foot off the gas right now. Villa versus Burnley feels like a stronghold, even though those guys were disappointing. You know, everybody was like, we were rotating for Europe. That was seemingly the perspective from Villa fans that I was seeing online. And so, yeah, hopefully for your sake, Sharp, that's true. And then Burnley is theoretically 100% at the beach. And then Manchester City versus Brentford is actually a little bit wild to me. Like, we just watched Manchester City kind of get cooked by Everton. I feel like maybe this is giving Manchester City too much favor. Like, they didn't beat Burnley by a lot. They didn't beat Everton, period.
I hear what you're saying, but they still put 3 goals in, right? Like they're still capable of scoring. I don't know what Gahey was doing on the pass back that cost them a goal. Like I think they had some mental lapses in there, and despite where Brentford's at on the table, I can't say I've been overly impressed with them throughout the season, other than Thiago's run of goals and Dango being a decent player. So I could see this being like I could see City running it up here. I don't know.
Yeah, the Brentford one I think is important to contextualize within where they were last year. I can't seem to figure out how to get the foot mob last year table on the thing, but I'm fairly certain they were sub 10 and now they're pushing 7th. So that's the thing about Brentford. They're still an inconsistent team. They are still, 7th right now, but
yeah. No, I hear you. Brighton scares me not having Danny Welbeck. Other than that, I think everything else we've kind of touched on.
Yeah, just also projecting a weird amount of goals for Chelsea. But
yeah, considering they've gotten their first in 8 games, 9 games.
Yeah,
it's crazy, absolutely ridiculous.
All right, so transfer plans. I went early this week, brought in LaCroix, had exact money, had to just send it. That's kind of been the plan. I've ended up with a lot less Crystal Palace players than I thought I would 3 or 4 weeks ago, but Palace I hate to say it, but I was so right about this one the entire season. Their squad was just too zen. The brakes fell off in a big way. And then they went deep into a competition in Europe, and it's significant. And they're almost having like a Spurs season last year right now. And they've never recovered. Now they're in 15th, not 17th, but it's close. I do have fears actually about LaCroix getting rotated in one or both of these games. Like, same goes for any of the other players, to be honest. So I'm just going to send the bench boost for the reasons I listed earlier. I'm going to have one Palace player, and generally I feel like the rest of the matchups are actually pretty solid. Like, I have Anderson versus Newcastle, both Manchester United guys versus Sunderland, West Ham versus Arsenal. Like, a lot of teams who have decent things to play for. Welbeck versus Wolves. My bench isn't as strong. That was the kind of consideration for like, should I not do this week? But just going to get it out of the way. I feel like I have a strong enough 11 to where hopefully if I get some extra points, that's some rank gain. And if not, I feel like most people have used their bench boosts at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you're looking pretty good here. I think Senesi being on your bench after what we saw last week and the fact that he's just a DEFCON guy, I feel like you can count on him a little bit more. So I'd feel good about that. Van Dijk, stoppable force meets immovable object, or movable object meets stoppable force, or whatever it is, because God, Chelsea can't score, but Liverpool can't keep a clean sheet. So
yeah, right.
I'm intrigued just to see how that plays out. That could be good for you. It might be Van Dijk getting a DEFCON and clean. Thiago, yeah, that's just a tough one. But otherwise, I think your team's set up really nicely here.
Yeah, I mean, just is what it is, right? Like, I'm generally happy with my squad. It's not gonna. I'm not. There was part of me that's like, should I make like a million transfers and like take some hits to try to optimize a bench boost squad? But no, the answer is no. Like, what am I going to optimize? Like, I get a couple of these guys out. Like, realistically, the two guys I would maybe strongly consider getting rid of for hits would be either Van Dyke or Mbumo, because Mbumo's just been useless. Although he almost had a crazy back heel in the
He
game this
did.
weekend.
That was almost really pretty.
Almost really pretty, but it wasn't. And so confirmed useless again. And
Yep.
so I I thought about maybe there's someone else I could bring into my midfield who'd be a little stronger. Like, it would be really nice to actually drop out, like, if I didn't have Rice and Bumo for Saka.
Mm,
That's where my head's at. Like, that would just be some, like, Arsenal have everything to play for. And Saka has been injured, so he's relatively fresh, and he scored in the UCL. He scored twice in the game over the weekend. So I thought about maybe getting Rice out, but ultimately I don't think I'm going to do anything rash at this point in the season. Every point counts. I'm trying to gain rank.
yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, I feel like a hit at this point. You're saying that you're gonna make up that 4 point in just 3 weeks, maybe even 1 week when you really look at it. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
So I'm on your side on this one. I actually like this team a lot. I don't feel like it's actually very different from my team, and I have a lot of the same fears that you've already talked about. So as much as I want to pick it apart, I don't know if I can.
Yeah. All right. Let's see yours then. It's not yours. This
That
is
is
yours.
not. That is, yeah. You can see the bench boost has been activated. I had planned for this for a while, and that bench boosting this week specifically, and actually made my transfer early as well. I went on Saturday, I think, because I was zero point 0.1 mil, or I might be exact money, to be honest with you, away from this. I did not go Lacroix because same reason you were kind of saying about the fear of rotation, and he seems like someone that would rotate. Canvo is not someone I've heard much about nor knew much about. I started playing around with Palace specific assets. He stumbled upon him, and his defcons over the past 6 games are off the charts. And really, that's the reason when I look at how tough Palace's games are, I don't expect them to keep a clean sheet. So then that kind of diminished Lacroix or Munoz. Not Munoz so much for the attacking threat, but overall, their form's been pretty tough. So what I looked for was the floor, and I feel like he has a solid floor there over anyone else with at least 2 games to play. So that was my transfer this week with Mukiele out. He got his goal. I don't think he'll be doing that again for us in 3 weeks.
I've been on the wrong side of that one all year. It's been
I
so
know.
annoying. I also went Alvarete out though for my Crystal Palace player. I actually really like
Makes
this
sense.
Kenvo shout. I didn't to be honest, I didn't really look. I just had in my head that I was going to go to LaCroix for a while, and I did. And
Yep.
I mean, the rotation now scares me. Like, potentially someone like Mitchell could be great, although he's only been playing 45s. Richard's been playing full 90s, but he's not really getting a lot of defcons, or not. He's consistently hitting 9 defcons. So
That would be frustrating. I'd be pissed.
yeah. So I don't know. The other thing with the Palace guys is if you look at their fixtures, if this wasn't a double, I wouldn't be willingly playing them against Manchester City. But then they followed it up with both Brentford and Arsenal. So I feel very comfortable having one of them and hoping it's good, but having the ability to bench them for both of the next 2 weeks.
100%. Yeah. Even if I had a free transfer, I would not have been bringing in another one of them. For what you just said, like fixtures suck. It just so happens they get a second crack at it this week versus other teams.
Yeah. When did you bring in Tarkowski?
He was on my wild card, and the reason for that was in game week 34 when he played and actually had a decent matchup that week. I was able to bench him last week against City, and here he is chilling.
Oh, his defcons have dried up. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He's gotten defcons twice since 24, and prior to that, he only missed a handful of times. That's crazy. What happened?
I don't know, but Palace is going to put him back in form. Don't you worry. He's actually what he's going to do is get a nice header into the net.
No, and I mean, you stand potentially to profit from a multitude of scenarios with that, right? If Palace guys get rotate, you could benefit. Like if they're not playing a full strength team, that could potentially be a clean sheet. If they're just off form, that could potentially be a clean sheet. So that's a great way to hedge your bets on a team that none of us are convinced about.
Wow, you make me sound smart. I'll
Yeah,
pretend I
I
thought of that.
mean, you're 47K. I proven it this year.
There we go. I appreciate it. As high as we were on Leeds and as worried as you were about them last week, obviously both these guys actually did return. If you
Yeah.
do go through that Leeds list, though, like these were the two guys to have. Like I got lucky with yellows that were
Dude,
given
that
out.
was what was tough about it is I was looking at potentially like, should I grab one last week? Like, is there a way that makes sense for me to do it? And it just didn't.
Yeah,
Um, and damn, I wish I did because they popped off. But you're right, there's nobody else. The fall off is significant.
it is crazy because even I had Aronson back in a free hit because I thought he was the guy at the time, and then Okafor's gone and been on form like crazy. But I'm not gonna lie to you. You've talked and we have said it many times throughout the year that Leeds away are tough to look at, and Tottenham all of a sudden appear to have found something. So I'm much less excited about those two than I once was. But if that's what I'm nitpicking here, like I think this is going to be a successful bench boost
Yeah,
overall.
I mean, Okafor put up 15 against United, and United are certainly a better team than Spurs. And
Valid.
Wolves and Burnley are only 2 places behind us right now. So, um, Tottenham have found something. That is my only hope. Leeds away are worse. But yeah, I'm not going to pretend as a Spurs fan playing this weekend that I'm not a little bit nervous about playing Leeds. like, uh,
Valid.
respect them for the season they're having.
Yeah. Also, I think they're not. I mean, they're basically locked up, but they're not technically mathematically clinched. I don't think yet. So they're still going to want to beat you guys and clinch that. So fingers
For
crossed.
sure. They need they could be at the beach as soon as next week, but they're
Yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. The only other thing to touch on here for me is captaincy. That is not going to be where it stays, even though Bruno's been great.
Oh
We'll
yeah, it's Holland, right? Oh,
man.
oh,
After this week, I should say yes because I hated. I mean, all he did was get 7 points, and I was like, "Fuck, that hurt." Excuse me, pardon the French, but man, Cherky, and his involvement and the way he's played is hard to steer away from as a possible differential if you're looking to possibly close a gap in the last couple game weeks.
I don't disagree. The reason I'm gonna captain Holland, even though I totally agree at that point, is because I think there's people who still have their triple captains left in there. Assuredly gonna stick it on Holland, and I'm just like
I didn't think about that.
playing a purely defensive game on this one. I'm like, I cannot lose points in that big of a way. But then, alternatively, this is where it's just a risk profile thing, because you're right. If Turkey does it, over 2 games, Turkey's in much better form than Holland.
Yeah. I'm not keeping on O'Reilly, I guess, and I don't think you can go anywhere else other than a double game week this week. So I think that is going to be the dilemma that most people are going to face between those two, or maybe a Semenyo if you have him. Honestly, Doku, if for some reason you got him, could have been cool.
Nah, but Doku's only scored Doku's one of those players that confuses me because he's really good, but he's not. I think he's got 4 goals for City this season.
I know, but they've all come in the last week.
Isn't that disappointing though? He has the same amount of goals as Cement. I don't know. I'm looking at the foot mob stats, but I can't tell. Semenyo's got 8 goals for City this season since January. Doku's got 9, but that's including 1 in the FA Cup, 2 in the Club World Cup, 1 in the Champions League. I know he's been injured, to be fair to him, but
yeah.
Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent. Who in the right mind has Doku?
Yeah, so fair. No, but the fact they're counting the Club World Cup, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is where I'm sitting right now. I'm actually pretty happy because I have the bug back there.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. You said you were worried about having a Welbeck, but you got the bug, so it's a good way to at least touch the fixture a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully it just stays 0-0 the entire game.
See, that's what I like about your team versus mine is even though you have worries about a lot of the players, you're at least more or less touching every game in some capacity, where I am sort of having a boom or bust potential, right? Mm-hmm. I have a very strong 11. If that 11 doesn't perform, if City specifically doesn't go well, I have 3 of them, and then I have 3 Arsenal players too, right? So 6 of my over half my starting 11 is from 2 teams. But
Two best teams that are fighting for the most, though. I don't think you're wrong for it.
No. I mean, and you're in the same spot. It's just then your diversity picks are more like, oh, that's a weird way to say that. Your spread out picks are more like Rogers, Watkins. Like, I guess you are kind of doubled up. It's just we're doubled up on different ways. So maybe I take back what I said. When did you exit the Bournemouth guys? Also on the wild card?
It might have been the wild card, if not before that.
I mean, I don't disagree. The 3-0 versus Crystal Palace was unexpected, but also not in recent form. And then they play Fulham this week, but then it's City and then an on-form Forest. So I'm still a little neutral on keeping them.
Yeah, I think if you have them, there's nothing wrong with it after what they put up last week. For me, it didn't feel like a priority to get in. Maybe if Forest looks like dog water later, I bring a Senesi in that last game week just because. But yeah, I think they're pretty lukewarm either way.
All right. Well, we have no idea what Luke's doing, so
not a clue. I don't think Luke knows what he's doing, to be fair.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes for him.
You know, I would wait. Flash it back up there for a second. We'll make his transfer for him right now.
Do we know how many transfers? He's got 3 transfers. Is that what that means?
No, that's how many he made last week when we did it on air.
Who are we telling him to transfer?
We brought in Rogers, Raya, and Calvert-Lewin last week.
2 out of 3 is fine with me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not mad about it. Really, it was his fault for how he set up his team. So
yeah.
True. But just looking at it, I mean, he has the Brighton, he has the Leeds, obviously Arsenal and City, a little Villa in there. So I mean, he's got the guys you really want.
I mean, it's impossible basically not to have like at a minimum 5 City and Arsenal players. So everybody has like the same backbone of their team in some capacity.
So fair.
I guess the question would be really, what is the likelihood that Leeds batters Tottenham? I mean, that genuinely might happen. And similarly, what is the likelihood that Villa batters Burnley? Like, I just don't know. Leeds has a lot more to play for, but I don't know where Villa's going to have their head at for this Burnley game.
Yeah. No, that's going to be the tale of the weekend. That's the tale of almost every Villa weekend, but accentuated lately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make his transfer for him right now. If he has the money for it, is Tavernier to Rice and call it a day.
You don't think so? All the way up to Saka?
I mean, if he has the money for that, but Tavernier's like 5 something, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's like 5'7", I think. So there's no way he has the money for that.
No, I think he has like 3 mil or 2 or something. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, oh shit, Rice is like 9 now, isn't he?
No, he's not that high, is he?
I mean,
mid sevens still.
Second highest scoring midfielder in the game, right?
Yeah, but you assume people are smart.
Third highest now, actually. Semenyo's got him. He's 7-2. Okay, no, I mean, if he's 2 mil in the bank, he might be able to get Rice. That's what I do. Yeah. But all right, who drops? Tavernier.
Yeah.
Just said that. I'm stupid.
Oh yeah, if we're dropping someone, does he? Okay. If he has to start someone, that becomes the question
because he's still got a double Bournemouth defense. So presumably, then you're taking out Struijk and playing one of Hill or Senesi.
I would probably put Senesi in. Yeah.
Do you want to drop anybody like Calvert-Lewin?
Not against Tottenham.
But Rogers versus Burnley or Hinchelwood versus Wolves, like they're all playing relegation teams.
I know they're playing good teams, so I don't know. Is
Thank you. Tottenham is a good team.
No, that's that's what I meant. You're right. It's as good as Luke's team. How about that?
So mean to me. I had a great time watching Manchester United kick your ass this weekend. When that third one came in, I was like, hell yeah.
Just rub it in. It's fine. We're playing Champions League ball next year. That's all I know.
Yeah, it worked out well for you this year.
Fair point. But I think that about wraps up where we're going this week and where we told Luke to go. I'm sure he's going to follow our instructions as we have done all season.
Yeah, so if that's what we think Luke should do. So Luke's actually
he's gonna take Semenyo to Turkey.
He's gonna bring in Gibbs White, who just got this big old forehead slashed.
Oh my god, did you see that? You could see his bone, it looked like in the picture.
Do you see the scar afterwards? Like
it's so gross.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. This has been the Three Wanks for the last 3 weeks of the game.
See you guys later. Bye.
Peace out.